हेलो स्टूडेंट्स, इस लेक्चर में, इस सेशन में, लाइव सेशन में हम लोग बायोलॉजिकल क्लासिफिकेशन पढ़ेंगे और देखते हैं उसमें हम कितना कुछ कर पाते हैं। हमारा ये इच्छा है कि बायोलॉजिकल क्लासिफिकेशन और प्लांट किंगडम दोनों एक साथ इस चैप्टर में खत्म करें। ठीक है, तो चलिए शुरू करते हैं। चलिए शुरू करते हैं। আমি সেলোটেপ আমার লাগবে 4-5টা। হ্যাঁ, কখন আনবে? ও चलिए शुरू करते हैं। पहले बायोलॉजिकल क्लासिफिकेशन पढ़ेंगे, फिर हम लोग प्लांट किंगडम निपटा लेंगे। चलिए, बायोलॉजिकल क्लासिफिकेशन क्या होता है? बायोलॉजिकल क्लासिफिकेशन, since the dawn of civilization there have been many attempts to classify the living organism. It was done intrinsically, not using the criteria, but to attempt to classify living organism, it was done intrinsically, not using criteria that were scientific but born out of a need to use organism for our own use, for food, shelter and clothing. ठीक है, Aristotle was the earliest to attempt a more scientific basis for classification. He used simple morphological characters to classify plants into trees, shrubs and herbs. Okay, he also divided animals into two groups on the basis of which had red blood and those that did not. Okay, in Linnaeus' time, a two-kingdom system of classification, Plantae and Animalia kingdoms, was developed that include all plants and animals respectively. Linnaeus के टाइम पर टू किंगडम क्लासिफिकेशन सिस्टम चालू हुआ था, जो कि प्लांटे और एनिमलिया को अलग अलग करके डिवाइड करता था, and was developed that include all the plants and animals respectively. This system did not distinguish between the eukaryotes and prokaryotes, unicellular and multicellular organism, and their photosynthetic green algae. तो ये जो सिस्टम था ये यूकेरियोट्स और प्रोकैरियोट्स को डिफरेंशिएट नहीं करता था। यूनिसेलुलर और मल्टीसेलुलर ऑर्गेनिज्म और फोटोसिंथेटिक को यूनिसेलुलर मल्टीसेलुलर ऑर्गेनिज्म को डिस्टिंग्विश नहीं करता था। ठीक है। Okay. So in Linnaeus, a two-kingdom system of classification with Plantae and Animalia was developed. In that include all the eukaryotes. Okay, that include the photosynthetic green algae and the non-photosynthetic fungi in the same group. Classification of organisms into plants and animals was easily done and was easy to understand. Classification जो organism होता था वो easily किया जाता था और easy to understand भी होता था. But a large number of organisms did not fall into either category. but बहुत सारे जो organism होते हैं वो कोई भी category में नहीं पड़ते थे. ठीक है. Hence, the two-kingdom classification used for a long time was found inadequate. तो ये जो टू किंगडम क्लासिफिकेशन सिस्टम था ये inadequate हुआ, कुछ खास नहीं किया गया. Beside gross morphology, a need was also felt for including other characteristics like cell structure, nature of wall, mode of nutrition, habitat, methods of reproduction, evolutionary relationship, etc. Classification system for the living organism have hence undergone several changes over the time. Though plant and animal kingdom have been constant under all different systems, the understanding of what groups or organisms to be included in the same kingdom have been changing. The number and nature of the other kingdoms have also understood differently by other scientists over time. So, gross morphology, a need for felt was including other characteristics like cell structure, nature of wall, mode of reproduction, mode of nutrition, habitat, and methods of reproduction, and evolutionary relationship. तो ये सब चेंज चाहिए था. ठीक है. R.H. Whitaker जो है 1969 proposed a five kingdom classification. ये इन्होंने five kingdom classification propose किया था. The kingdoms defined by him were named as Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae, and Animalia. The main criteria for classification used by him, जो मेन क्राइटेरिया था जो क्लासिफिकेशन का जो उसने यूज किया था उसका क्या था? सेल स्ट्रक्चर, बॉडी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, मोड ऑफ न्यूट्रिशन, रिप्रोडक्शन एंड फाइलोजेनेटिक रिलेशनशिप्स, ये सब था. ठीक है. A comparative account of different characteristics of the five kingdom classification. ठीक है. The three domain system has also been proposed, that kingdom Monera into two domains, leaving the remaining eukaryotic organisms into the third domain, and thereby a six kingdom classification. You will learn about this system in detail at higher classes. तो एक अभी क्या है, अभी टू डोमेन किंगडम है, तो एक बोला गया था कि थ्री डोमेन निकालो, मोनेरा को अलग से रखो और उसमें जो यूकैरियोटिक है प्रोकैरियोटिक है वो उतना रखो, तो तीन हो जाता और इसमें फिर सिक्स किंगडम क्लासिफिकेशन हो जाता. इसलिए वो नहीं किया गया है, पर वो हायर क्लासेस में आपको पढ़ना है, पर यहाँ पर सिर्फ फाइव किंगडम क्लासिफिकेशन ही पढ़ना आपको है. The three-domain system has also been proposed that divides the kingdom Monera into two domains, leaving the remaining eukaryotic organism in the third domain and thereby a sixth kingdom classification. We will learn about this system in detail at higher classes. Higher classes में आप इसको पढ़ने वाले हो. Let us look at the five kingdom classification. अब five kingdom classification को समझते हैं to understand the issues and consideration that influence the classification system. Earlier classification system included bacteria, blue-green algae, fungi, mosses, ferns, gymnosperms and angiosperms under plants. तो earlier जो classification था उसमें जो plants में included था वो था bacteria, blue-green algae, fungi, mosses, ferns, gymnosperm and angiosperms under plant. The character that unified the whole kingdom was that all organisms include had a cell wall in their cell. तो ये जो इसको किया गया था मतलब प्लांट में रखा गया था सिर्फ सेल वॉल होने के कारण रखा गया था. ठीक है, तो ये हुआ दिस प्लस पे हाँ इनिशियल ऑर्गेनाइज ओके. This placed together groups which widely differed in other characteristics. It brought together the prokaryotic bacteria and the blue-green algae, cyanobacteria with other groups which were eukaryotic. It also grouped together the unicellular organism and the multicellular ones, say for example Chlamydomonas and Spirogyra were placed together under algae. Algae में रखा गया था. और ग्रुप टुगेदर किया गया था यूनिसेलुलर ऑर्गेनिज्म और मल्टीसेलुलर को. अगर पूछे तो क्लामाइडोमोनास और स्पाइरोगायरा को रखा गया था. द क्लासिफिकेशन डिड नॉट डिफरेंशिएट बिटवीन हेटेरोट्रोपिक ग्रुप. फंगी जो हेटेरोट्रोपिक ग्रुप है फंगी का उसमें डिफरेंशिएट नहीं किया गया था. एंड द ऑटोट्रोपिक ग्रीन प्लांट्स, ऑटोट्रोपिक ग्रीन प्लांट्स में भी डिफरेंशिएट नहीं किया गया था. दे आल्सो शोड द कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स ऑफ देयर वॉल कंपोजिशन. द फंगी हैड काइटिन. तो सेल वॉल प्रेजेंट होने का मतलब ये नहीं कि वो सेल वॉल है तो उस पर प्लांट्स में ही रख देना चाहिए. तो ये होता था क्या कि इसमें आपको सेल वॉल किस चीज का मेडअप है वो आपको देखना पड़ता था. तो इसमें वो नहीं था तो इसलिए बहुत दिक्कत होता था प्लांट किंगडम में. और फिर आया व्हेन सच कैरेक्टरिस्टिक वर कंसीडर्ड द फंगी वर प्लेस्ड इन अ सेपरेट किंगडम. किंगडम फंगी भी सेपरेट किंगडम बन गया. ठीक है. ऑल प्रोकैरियोटिक organism were grouped under kingdom Monera and unicellular eukaryotic organism were placed in Protista. Unicellular eukaryotic अच्छा जो भी प्रोकैरियोटिक organisms है वो प्रोटिस्ट मोनेरा के अंदर आ गया और जो भी यूनिसेलुलर यूकैरियोटिक ऑर्गेनिज्म था वो आपका प्रोटिस्टा में आ गया. किंगडम प्रोटिस्टा has brought together different Chlamydomonas colorella earlier placed in algae within plants and both having cell walls with Paramecium amoeba which were placed in the animal kingdom which lacks cell wall. तो पहले जो Paramecium था जो कि सेल वॉल नहीं होने के कारण एनिमल में था वो भी अभी किस में आ गया प्रोटिस्टा में आ गया. ठीक है. It has put together organisms which in earlier classification were placed in different kingdoms. This happened because the criteria for classification changed. This kind of changes will take place in future too, depending on the improvement in our understanding of characteristics and evolutionary relationships. Over time, an attempt has been made to evolve a classification system which reflects not only the morphological, physiological, and reproductive similarities but is also phylogenetic based on evolutionary relationship. In this chapter, we will study characteristics of kingdom Monera, Protista, and fungi of the Whitaker system of classification. The kingdom Plantae and Animalia, commonly referred to as plant and animal kingdoms respectively, will be dealt separately in chapter 3 and chapter 4. तो ये था इंट्रोडक्शन. হ্যাঁ, কি হয়েছে? किंगडम मोनेरा। अभी हम समझेंगे किंगडम मोनेरा। बैक्टीरिया are the sole members of the kingdom Monera. They are the most abundant microorganism. बैक्टीरिया जो है वो सोल मेंबर है किंगडम मोनेरा का। ये मोस्ट एबंडेंट माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिजम्स होते हैं। बैक्टीरिया ऑकर ऑलमोस्ट एवरीवेयर, सब जगह बैक्टीरिया होते हैं। हंड्रेड्स ऑफ बैक्टीरिया आर हंड्रेड्स ऑफ बैक्टीरिया जो होते हैं आर प्रेजेंट। हाँ, क्या गो? हाँ, वहाँ से। हाँ, 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 খুলেছি। अभी हम लोग स्टडी नहीं कर रहे हैं। अभी हम लोग किंगडम मोनेरा के बारे में पढ़ रहे हैं। बायोलॉजिकल क्लासिफिकेशन आज खत्म करेंगे। चलिए अब शुरू करते हैं किंगडम मोनेरा। थोड़ा लेट हो गए हम। बैक्टीरिया आर द बैक्टीरिया आर द सोल मेंबर्स। सोल पढ़ा रहा हूँ, पढ़ नहीं, पढ़ा रहा हूँ। चलिए, बैक्टीरिया आर द सोल मेंबर्स ऑफ किंगडम मोनेरा। They are the most abundant microorganisms. Bacteria occur almost everywhere. Hundreds of bacteria are present in a handful of soil. They also live in some extreme extreme habitats such as hot springs, deserts, snow, and deep oceans where very few other life forms can survive. ठीक है, बहुत कम लाइफ फॉर्म्स जो जहाँ पर सरवाइव करते हैं वहां पर भी आपका बैक्टीरिया जो होता है बैक्टीरिया रहता है। बैक्टीरिया आर ग्रुप्ड इनटू 4 कैटेगरीज बेस्ड ऑन देयर प्रिंसिपल्स। ओके, तो 4 टाइप के बैक्टीरिया होते हैं भाई, 4 टाइप का, जैसे कि रॉड शेप्ड बैसिलस, कोमा शेप्ड वाइब्रियम, स्पाइरल स्पाइरिलियम, और ठीक है, ये 4 होते हैं। तो कोकस, पेरिकल कोकस, रॉड शेप्ड बैसिलस, द कोमा शेप्ड वाइब्रियम और स्पाइरल स्पाइरिलियम, ये आपको याद रहेगा। दो द बैक्टीरिया स्ट्रक्चर इज वेरी सिंपल, दे आर वेरी कॉम्प्लेक्स इन बिहेवियर में बहुत कॉम्प्लेक्स होते हैं बैक्टीरिया। बैक्टीरिया एज अ ग्रुप शो एक्सटेंसिव मेटाबॉलिक Bacteria as a group show extensive metabolic diversity. Some of the bacteria are autotrophic. Some of the bacteria are autotrophic means they are uh, synthesize their own food from inorganic substrates. They may be photosynthetic autotrophic bacteria or chemosynthetic autotrophic bacteria. The vast majority of bacteria are heterotrophs. They depend on other organisms or in dead organic matter और फूड के लिए और दूसरे मतलब मरे हुए जानवर पर डिपेंड करते हैं कई सारे बैक्टीरिया। नेक्स्ट है हमारा आर्की बैक्टीरिया। These are the bacteria are special since they live in some of the most harsh habitats such as extreme salty areas, hot springs and marshy areas. Archaebacteria differ from other bacteria in having a different cell wall structure, and this feature is responsible for their survival in extreme conditions. Methanogens are present in the gut of several ruminant animals such as cows and buffalo, and they are responsible for the production of methane or biogas from the dung of these animals. Methanogens जो present होते हैं gut of the several ruminant animals के such as cows and buffalo, and they are the responsible for the production of methane from the dung of this animal. तो चलिए हेलोफाइल्स किसको बोलते हैं? These bacteria are special since they live in some of the most harsh habitats such as extreme salty areas, halophiles, hot spring, thermoacidophiles and marshy areas, methanogens. तो जो salty areas में रहता है उसको हम लोग बोलते हैं यहाँ पर halophiles, जो hot springs में रहते हैं उसको हम लोग बोलते हैं थर्मोएसिडोफाइल्स, और जो मार्शी एरियाज में रहते हैं उसको हम मेथानोजेंस बोलते हैं। तो ये होता है आर्की बैक्टीरिया जो है डिफर करता है अदर बैक्टीरिया से इन हैविंग a different cell wall structure, and this feature is responsible for their survival in extreme conditions. तो ये जो सेल वॉल है इनका ये थोड़ा डिफरेंट होता है क्योंकि इनको जरूरत भी है हार्श कंडीशंस में रहते हैं इसके लिए। मिथानोजेंस आर प्रेजेंट इन द गट। मिथानोजेंस जो होते हैं वो इनके गट में प्रेजेंट होते हैं and in the gut of several ruminant animals such as cows and buffalo. काउस और बफेलो में प्रेजेंट रहते हैं मिथानोजेंस एंड गट, ठीक है। चलिए ये हो गया, एंड दे आर रिस्पांसिबल फॉर द प्रोडक्शन ऑफ मीथेन और बायोगैस। आर्की बैक्टीरिया सिंपल था। अब है यू बैक्टीरिया। There are thousands of different eubacteria or true bacteria. They are characterized by the presence of rigid cell wall. तो ये रिजिड सेल वॉल से कैरेक्टराइज किया जाता है, और अगर मोटाइल है फ्लैजेलम भी होता है। द साइनोबैक्टीरिया have chlorophyll A similar to green plants and the photosynthetic autotrophs. The cyanobacteria are unicellular, colonial or filamentous, freshwater or marine or terrestrial algae. तो इतना कुछ है। क्या क्या है एक बार बोलता हूँ। The cyanobacteria are unicellular, colonial, filamentous, freshwater or marine or terrestrial algae। ये 4-5 हैं। ठीक है। द साइनोबैक्टीरिया आर यूनिसेलुलर, कोलोनियल भी रहते हैं, यूनिसेलुलर भी रहते हैं, फिलामेंटस भी रहते हैं, और फ्रेश वाटर में भी रहते हैं, और मेराइन में तो रहते ही है। द कॉलोनीज आर जनरली सराउंडेड बाय अ जिलेटिनियस शीट, एक जिलेटिनियस शीट होता है, उसमें कॉलोनी सराउंड करते हैं। और ये जो बनते हैं कहाँ, दे ऑफन फॉर्म ब्लूम्स इन पॉल्यूटेड वाटर बॉडी, or some of these organisms can fix atmospheric nitrogen in specialized cells called heterocyst, and that is called, example is nostoc and anabina. Chemosynthetic autotrophic bacteria oxidize various inorganic substances such as nitrates and nitrites and ammonia and use the released energy for their ATP production. ATP production के लिए वो energy को release करते हैं. They play a great role in recycling नाइट्रोजन, फॉस्फोरस, आयरन एंड सल्फर। आयरन और सल्फर को जो नाइट्रो मतलब है उसमें ग्रेट रोल प्ले करते हैं। दे प्ले ग्रेट रोल इन रिसाइकलिंग न्यूट्रिएंट्स लाइक नाइट्रोजन, फॉस्फोरस, आयरन एंड सल्फर। हिटोट्रोपिक बैक्टीरिया आर द मोस्ट अबंडेंट इन नेचर। हिटोट्रोपिक जो बैक्टीरिया होते हैं वो बहुत ही नेचर में आपका अबंडेंट होता है। द मेजोरिटी आर इम्पोर्टेंट डिकम्पोजर्स, मेजोरिटी जो बैक्टीरिया होते हैं वो बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट डिकम्पोजर्स होते हैं, और मेनी ऑफ देम हैव सिग्निफिकेंट इम्पैक्ट ऑन ह्यूमन अफेयर्स में, बहुत ज़्यादा के तो सिग्निफिकेंट इम्पैक्ट है हिटोट्रोपिक ह्यूमन अफेयर्स में। ठीक है। They are helpful in making curd from milk and production of antibiotics, fixing nitrogen in legume, roots, etc. Some are pathogen causing damage to human beings, crops, farms, animals and pets. Cholera, typhoid, tetanus, citrus canker are well-known disease caused by the different bacteria. तो ये सब वेल नोन डिजीजेज हैं जो बैक्टीरिया कॉज करते हैं। बैक्टीरिया रिप्रोड्यूस मेनली बाय फिशन, बैक्टीरिया जो होता है वो मेनली फिशन से ही रिप्रोड्यूस करता है। समटाइम्स अंडर अनफेवरेबल कंडीशन दे प्रोड्यूस स्पोर्स, अनफेवरेबल कंडीशन में स्पोर्स प्रोड्यूस करते हैं। दे आल्सो रिप्रोड्यूस बाय सॉर्ट ऑफ सेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन by adopting a primitive type of DNA transfer from one bacterium to the other. The mycoplasma are the organism that completely lacks a cell wall, and they are the smallest living cells known and can survive without oxygen. Many mycoplasma are pathogenic in plants and animals. So, kingdom Monera is completed. Kingdom Monera is completed. तो अभी हम लोग 5 मिनट का ब्रेक लेंगे, कुछ पर्सनल काम है इसलिए। ठीक है। Okay, now kingdom Protista we will start, and we have 15 minutes to cover the Protista. All single cell eukaryotes are placed under Protista, but the boundaries of this kingdom are not well defined. What may be a photosynthetic protista to one biologist may be a plant to another. In this book, we include chrysophytes, dinoflagellates, euglenoids, slime molds, and protozoan under Protista. Okay, so in this book, we include chrysophytes, dinoflagellates, euglenoids, slime molds, and protozoans under Protista. Members of Protista are primarily aquatic. This kingdom forms a link with the others dealing with plants, animals and fungi. तो ये जो प्रोटिस्टा है ये एक लिंक तैयार करता है प्लांट्स और एनिमल्स के बीच में और being eukaryote, the protistian cell body contains a well-defined nucleus and other membrane-bound organelles. Some of the have flagella, cilia. Protists reproduce asexually and sexually by a process involving cell fusion and zygote formation ठीक है. क्राइसोफाइट्स, चलिए एक बार फिर से मैं प्रोटिस्टा बोल दे रहा हूँ. ऑल सिंगल सेल यूकैरियोट्स जितने भी होते हैं वो प्रोटिस्टा में रहते हैं, बट द बाउंड्रीज ऑफ दिस किंगडम आर नॉट वेल डिफाइंड. इसका जो बाउंड्रीज है किंगडम का ये डिफाइंड नहीं है अच्छे तरीके से. व्हाट मे बी अ फोटोसिंथेटिक प्रोटिस्टन टू वन बायोलॉजिस्ट, एक बायोलॉजिस्ट को अगर एक प्रोटिस्टन लगता है प्लांट से और दूसरे को लगता है एनिमल, प्लांट दूसरे को लगता है एनिमल. इन दिस बुक वी इंक्लूड, इस बुक में है क्या क्या है, क्राइसोफाइट्स है, डाइनोफ्लैजेलेट्स है, यूग्लेनोइड्स है. क्राइसोफाइट्स, डाइनोफ्लैजेलेट्स, यूग्लेनोइड्स, स्लाइम मोल्ड्स और प्रोटोजोन अंडर प्रोटिस्टा. मेंबर्स ऑफ प्रोटिस्टा क्या है, आर प्राइमरीली aquatic. दिस किंगडम फॉर्म्स अ लिंक विथ अदर्स. ये जो किंगडम है ये अदर्स के साथ लिंक फॉर्म करता है. Dealing with plants, animals and fungi. Being eukaryotes, the protistian cell body contains a, ये eukaryotes है तो well defined nucleus है, another membrane bound organelles है, some of flagella और cilia. ये कुछ में flagella है, cilia है. Protista reproduce asexually and sexually by a process involving cell fusion and zygote formation. तो प्रोटिस्टा कैसे रिप्रोड्यूस करता है, asexually और sexually by a process involving cell fusion और क्या है, zygote formation. तो इतना ही है प्रोटिस्टा. अब क्राइसोफाइट्स, दिस ग्रुप इंक्लूड्स डायटम्स एंड गोल्डन एल्गी. Desmids, they are found in fresh water as well as in marine environments. Marine environments में भी रहते हैं. They are microscopic and float passively in water currents. Plankton. तो chrysophytes are the diatoms and golden algae. Desmids, they are found in fresh water as well as in marine environments. They are microscopic and float passively in water currents. Most of them are photosynthetic. चलिए, तो क्राइसोफाइट्स जो होते हैं ये डायटॉम्स होते हैं, गोल्डन एल्गी बोला जाता है. ये फ्रेश वाटर में पाया जाता है और मैराइन एनवायरमेंट्स में पाया जाता है. तो क्राइसोफाइट्स क्या है भाई? दिस ग्रुप इंक्लूड्स डायटम्स एंड गोल्डन एल्गी। इसमें डायटम्स और गोल्डन एल्गी पाया जाता है। दे आर फाउंड इन फ्रेश वाटर, ये फ्रेश वाटर में पाया जाता है, और एज वेल एज इन मैराइन एनवायरमेंट्स। ठीक है, मैराइन एनवायरमेंट्स में भी पाया जाता है। ठीक है, तो क्राइसोफाइट्स मैराइन एनवायरमेंट में पाया जाता है। दे आर माइक्रोस्कोपिक, माइक्रोस्कोपिक तो होते ही है, और फ्लोट पैसिवली इन वाटर करंट्स, वाटर करंट्स में पैसिवली फ्लोट करते हैं। मोस्ट ऑफ देम आर फोटोसिंथेटिक, फोटोसिंथेटिक होते हैं। इन डायटम्स द cell walls form two thin overlapping shells which fit together as in a soap box. The walls are embedded with silica and thus the walls are indestructible. Walls क्या होते हैं? Indestructible होते हैं। Thus diatoms have left behind large amount of cell wall deposit in their habitat. Diatoms क्या करते हैं? Large amount of cell wall deposit करके चले जाते हैं। ठीक है, their cell walls are indestructible. Being gritty, this accumulation over billions of years is referred to as diatomaceous earth. ये जो accumulation है billions of years से, इसी को बोलते हैं diatomaceous earth। Being gritty मतलब gritty होने के नाते, this soil is used in polishing, filtration of oils and syrups. Diatoms are the chief producers in the ocean. Diatoms chief producer, oceans के chief producer होते हैं। चलिए, अब है डाइनोफ्लैजेलेट्स। तो एक बार क्राइसोफाइट्स फिर से रिवाइज करा देता हूँ। दिस ग्रुप इंक्लूड्स डायटम्स एंड गोल्डन एल्गी। They are found in fresh water as well as in marine environments. They are microscopic and float passively in water currents. Most of them are photosynthetic in nature. photosynthetic होते हैं और फ्लोट करते हैं। They are microscopic and float passively in water currents. water currents में passively float करते हैं। Most of them are photosynthetic, photosynthetic होते हैं। In diatoms, the cell walls form two thin overlapping shells which fit together as in a soap box. Two thin overlapping shells होते हैं जो कि fit together कर जाते हैं एक soap box में। The walls are embedded with silica and thus the walls are indestructible. Walls क्या होते हैं? Embedded होते हैं silica में, तो walls indestructible होते हैं। Thus diatoms have left behind large amount of cell deposits in their habitat. Large amount of cell wall जो है वो deposit करके चले गए हैं diatoms, इसलिए diatomaceous earth भी बोला जाता है। Being gritty, this soil is used in polishing. ये ग्रिटी होने के नाते ये सॉइल को पॉलिशिंग में इस्तेमाल करते हैं। फिल्ट्रेशन ऑफ ऑयल्स एंड सिरप्स। डायटम्स आर द चीफ प्रोड्यूसर्स ऑफ द इन द ओशंस। ठीक है, तो ये है डाइनोफ्लैजेलेट्स। दीज ऑर्गेनिजम्स जो होते हैं, these are the organisms which are mostly marine होते हैं and are photosynthetic. They appear yellow, green, brown, blue or red depending on the main pigment present in their cell. The cell wall has stiff cellulose plates on the outer surface. Most of them have two flagella. One lies longitudinally and others transversely in a furrow between the wall plates. Very often red dinoflagellates, example goniulax, undergo such rapid multiplication that they make sea appear red in tides Toxin released by such large numbers may even kill other marine animals such as fishes. ठीक है, चलिए यूग्लेनोइड्स के बारे में हम लोग पढ़ेंगे। फिर से डायनोफ्लैजेलेट्स में रिवाइज कराना चाहता हूँ। These organisms are mostly marine and photosynthetic. They appear yellow, green, brown, blue or red depending on the main pigment present in their cell. The cell wall has stiff cellulose plates on the outer surface. Most of them have two flagella. One lies longitudinally and other transversely in a furrow between the wall plates and very often red dinoflagellates, example goniolax, undergo such rapid multiplication that they make the sea appear red. Toxin released by such large numbers may even kill other animals such as fishes. Euglenoids, majority of them are freshwater organisms found in stagnant water. Instead of a cell wall, they have a protein-rich layer called pellicle, which makes their body flexible. Okay, so majority of them are euglenoids. Majority of them are freshwater organisms. Freshwater organism होते हैं found in stagnant water होते हैं, stagnant water में पाया जाता है. Instead of a cell wall, they have a protein-rich layer called pellicle, which makes their body flexible. They have two flagella, a short and a long one. Though they are photosynthetic in the presence of sunlight, when deprived of sunlight, they behave like heterotrophs by predating another smaller organism. Interestingly, the pigments of euglenoids are identical to those present in higher plants. Example, euglena. ठीक है, चलिए अब स्लाइम मोल्ड्स. स्लाइम मोल्ड्स आर सैप्रोफाइटिक प्रोटिस्ट. ये एक सैप्रोफाइटिक प्रोटिस्ट होते हैं. Slime molds are saprophytic protists. The body moves along dead, decaying twigs and leaves engulfing organic material. Under suitable conditions, they form an aggregation called plasmodium, which may grow and spread over several feet, जो कि ग्रो होकर several feet तक पहुंच जाते हैं. During unfavorable condition, the plasmodium differentiate and forms fruiting bodies. Unfavorable condition में plasmodium fruiting bodies बनाता है bearing spores at their tips. The spores possess true walls. They are extremely resistant and survive for many years, even under adverse conditions. The spores are dispersed by air currents. The spores are dispersed by air currents. The spores are dispersed by air currents. ठीक है, चलिए अब लास्ट है प्रोटोजोन. ऑल प्रोटोजोन आर heterotrophs and live as predators or parasites. They are believed to be primitive relatives of animals. There are four major groups of protozoan. There are four major groups of protozoan. हाँ দারুণ ঘড়ি পেয়ে গেলে চলছে তো হ্যাঁ শোনো এটা তো বিক্রি করব আমি কি করে কত যারা আছে নিতে 100 টাকা তো দেবে হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ টাইটানের ঘড়ি ওই জন্য রেখেছি. All protozoans are heterotrophs and live as predator or parasite. They are believed to be primitive relatives of animals. There are four major groups of protozoan. Amoeboid protozoan. These organisms live in fresh water, sea water or moist soil. They move and capture their prey by putting out their pseudopodia, false feet as in amoeba. Marine forms have silica cells on the surface. Some of them, such as entamoeba, are parasite. Flagellated protozoan. These members of this group are either free-living or parasitic. They have flagella. The parasitic forms cause disease such as sleeping sickness. Example: trypanosoma. Flagellated protozoans are called. The members of this group are either free-living or parasitic. They have flagella. The parasitic forms cause disease such as sleeping sickness. Example: trypanosoma. Ciliated protozoan. They are aquatic, actively moving organisms. Because of the presence of thousands of cilia, they have a cavity gullet that opens to the outside of the cell surface. The coordinated movement of rows of cilia causes the water laden with food to be steered into the gullet. Example: paramoecium. गलत वर्ड याद रखना, ciliated protozoan और एग्जाम बस हो जाएगा. Example: paramoecium. Sporozoans. These include diverse organisms that have an infectious spore-like stage life cycle, that is malaria, plasmodium. Okay, that's it. Now we have to study fungi, from which a question is guaranteed. The fungi constitute a unique kingdom of heterotrophic organism. फंगी जो है ये एक यूनिक किंगडम कॉन्स्टिट्यूट करता है heterotrophic organism का. They show a great diversity in morphology and habitat. Great diversity show करता है morphology और habitat में. You must have seen fungi on a moist bread and rotten fruits. आप जरूर fungi देखे होंगे moist bread और rotten fruits पर. The common mushroom you eat and toadstools are also fungi. Common mushroom जो आप खाते हैं और toadstool जो है वो fungi होते हैं. White spots seen on mustard leaves are due to parasitic fungus. Some unicellular fungi जो कि एक यूनिसेलुलर फंगी है. Yeast are used to make bread and beer. Other fungi cause disease in plants and animals. Wheat rust causing Puccinia is an important example. Some are the sources of antibiotics. Example Penicillium F. Penicillium. Fungi are cosmopolitan and occur in air, water and soil and on animals and plants. Fungi जो है वो cosmopolitan है और occur होता है air, water और soil में and other on plants and animals. They prefer to grow in warm and humid places. Have you ever wondered why we keep food in the refrigerator? Yes, it's to prevent food from going bad due to bacterial or fungal infections. With the exception of yeast, which are unicellular, fungi are filamentous. ईस्ट का जो एक्सेप्शन है वो उससे छोड़कर क्या होता है फंगी होता है फिलामेंटस होते हैं. देयर बॉडी कंसिस्ट ऑफ लॉन्ग स्लेंडर थ्रेड लाइक स्ट्रक्चर्स कॉल्ड हाइफी. बॉडी में जो होता है लॉन्ग स्लेंडर थ्रेड लाइक स्ट्रक्चर उसको हाइफी बोला जाता है. द नेटवर्क ऑफ हाइफी इज नोन एज mycelium. Some hyphae are continuous tube filled with multinucleated cytoplasm. These are called coenocytic hyphae. Others have septa or cross wall in their hyphae. The cell wall of fungi are composed of chitin and polysaccharide. Cell wall जो है fungi का वो composed है chitin और polysaccharides का. Most fungi are heterotrophic and absorb soluble organic matter from dead substrates called saprophytes. Those that depend on living plants and animals are called parasites. They can also live as symbionts in association with lichens with roots of higher plants and as mycorrhiza. Reproduction in fungi can take place by vegetative means. Vegetative means के थ्रू भी ले सकते हैं जैसे fragmentation, fission and budding. Asexual reproduction is by spores called conidia or sporangiospores or zoospores, and sexual reproduction is by oospores, ascospores and basidiospores. The various spores are produced in distinct structures called fruiting bodies. The sexual cycle involves the following three steps: fusion of protoplasm between two motile and non-motile gametes called plasmogamy. चलिए ये फंगी का इंट्रोडक्शन था. नहीं, इंट्रोडक्शन अभी खत्म नहीं हुआ. Fusion of protoplasms between two motile or non-motile gametes called plasmogamy. Fusion of two nuclei called karyogamy. Meiosis in zygote resulting in haploid spores. When a fungus reproduce sexually, the two haploid hyphae of compatible mating types come together and fuse. In some fungi, the fusion of two haploid cells immediately result in two cells. However, in other fungi, Ascomycetes and Basidomycetes, an intervening dikaryotic stage, two nuclei per cell occurs. Such condition is called dikaryon, and the phase is called dikaryophase of fungus. Later, the parental nuclei fuse and cells become diploid. The fungi form fruiting bodies in which reduction division occurs, leading to formation of haploid spores. The morphology of the mycelium mode of spore formation fruiting bodies form the basis for the division of the kingdom into various classes. चलिए फंगी फिर से ठंडे दिमाग से पढ़ते हैं। ठंडे दिमाग से पढ़ते हैं। ठंडे दिमाग से पढ़ते हैं।
अरे कहाँ स्किप बटन ढूंढ रहे हो? 15 सेकंड में इतनी घुटन हो रही है। उनका सोचो जो 7 दिन 24 घंटे बंद रहेंगे सिर्फ और सिर्फ आपके एंटरटेनमेंट के लिए। आकर देखना जरूर कैसे कटता है उनका वक्त हमारे नए शो पर। बाय गॉड बड़ा मजा आने वाला है। देखिए हमारा नया इंटरैक्टिव रियलिटी शो 7 डेज लाइव 22 फरवरी से ओनली ऑन जियो हॉटस्टार।
आज मैं बात करने जा रही हूं कि हम इन 5 सिंपल के जाने चाहिए। आप किलोमीटर के लिए तू हौसला रख, ये राहें ले जाएंगी मंजिल तक, तू हौसला रख। कभी देखा है अंधेरों ने सवेरा ना होने दिया, कभी देखा है अंधेरों ने सवेरा ना होने दिया। Hello my shivering stars, this is Shaurya Grover and I welcome you to this amazing platform of NCERT वाला। मैं तहे दिल से आपका स्वागत करती हूँ आपके अपने फिजिक्स वाला के प्लेटफॉर्म पर। अपने NCERT ना है देखना पेपर ना बहुत ही शानदार होने वाला है। तो सबसे पहली बात तो आप सभी को मैं पैटर्न बता देती हूँ। आप
डिस्कस करेंगे एक एल्डरली फीमेल जो आपके पास एडमिट होती हैं, जो 80 साल से ऊपर की आयु है, सांस लेने में प्रॉब्लम हो रही है और
अब अगर 19 से करूँ तो हो जाएगा क्या? वाकई में तुम डेडिकेशन वाली चीज रखते या तुम डेडिकेटेड होते तो तुम ये सवाल नहीं पूछते ना कि अब कर दूं क्या? पढ़ो तो सही, पूछते ही रह जाओगे क्या? करो तो सही, कुछ तो करो। अरे जितना पढ़ पाते हो पढ़ो, लगाओ ना जोर, खड़े ना हम यहाँ पे तुम्हारे साथ। जितनी मेहनत करनी है करो, कर सको जितनी करो, जो मांगोगे देंगे, पर करो ना। अभी तक हम तो ये भी बोलते हैं चल भाई अब से पढ़ना स्टार्ट करो, करो।
क्या एआई के पास इमोशंस एंड कॉन्शियसनेस होती है? अगर है तो एआई जो है वो फ्यूचर में सारे काम रिप्लेस कर पाएगा कि नहीं?
अभी इमोशंस नहीं है भी तो बहुत कम है। जैसे जैसे एआई ग्रो करेगा, कॉन्शियसनेस गेन करेगा तो ह्यूमैनिटी को भी थ्रेट है, सब खत्म हो सकता है।
मुझे नहीं लगता कि एआई सारी चीजें रिप्लेस कर।
चलिए फंगी में थे हम लोग। The fungi constitutes a unique kingdom of heterotrophic organisms. They show a great diversity in morphology and habitat. You must have seen fungi on a moist bread and rotten fruits. The common mushroom you eat and toadstool are also fungi. White spots are seen and mustard leaves are due to parasitic fungus. ये some unicellular fungi, example yeast, are used to make bread and beer. Other fungi causes disease in plants and animals. Wheat rust causing Puccinia is an important example. Some of the sources of antibiotics, example penicillium. Okay. Fungi are cosmopolitan and occur in air, water, soil, and on animals and plants. They prefer to grow in warm and humid places. Have you ever wondered why we keep food in the refrigerator? Yes, it is to prevent food from going bad due to bacterial or fungal infections. With the exception of yeast, which are unicellular, fungi are filamentous. Their body consists of long, slender, thread-like structures called hyphae. The network of hyphae जो बोलते हैं वो उसको बोला जाता है mycelium. Some hyphae are continuous tubes filled with multinucleated cytoplasm. These are called coenocytic hyphae. Coenocytic hyphae बोला जाता है. और most fungi are heterotrophic and absorb soluble organic matter from dead substrates and hence are called saprophytes. इसको saprophytes बोला जाता है. Those that depend on living plants and animals are called parasites. They can also live as symbionts in association with algae as lichens with roots of higher plants as mycorrhiza. Reproduction in fungi can take place by vegetative means. Reproduction in fungi can takes place by vegetative means as fragmentation, fission, and budding. Asexual reproduction is by spores called conidia or sporangiospores or zoospores, and sexual reproduction by oospores, ascospores, and basidiospores. तो reproduction जो fungi का है, vegetative means का क्या है भाई? Vegetative means sexual fragmentation, fission, and budding. Fragmentation, fission और budding है. बट एसेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन जो है वो है स्पोर्स इज बाय स्पोर्स कॉल्ड कोनिडिया, स्पोरेंजियोस्पोर्स और जूस्पोर्स. और जो सेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन है वो किस में से है भाई? सेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन जो है वो oospores, ascospores एंड basidiospores. बस इतना आप याद रखो हो जाएगा. The various spores are produced in distinct structures called fruiting bodies. जो various spores produced होते हैं distinct structures में उसको fruiting bodies बोला जाता है. Fruiting bodies. The sexual cycles involve following 3 steps. अब sexual cycle जो है उसका 3 steps है. Fusion of protoplasm between 2 motile or non-motile gametes called plasmogamy. अगर आप फ्यूशन करा रहे हो प्रोटोप्लाज्म का बिटवीन टू मोटाइल और नॉन मोटाइल गैमेट्स, अगर 2 मोटाइल गैमेट्स है, अगर 2 नॉन मोटाइल गैमेट्स है, अगर दोनों का फ्यूशन करा रहे हो तो उसको प्लाज्मोगैमी बोलते हैं. फ्यूशन ऑफ 2, तो ये बात साफ हो गया है कि फ्यूशन ऑफ 2 प्रोटोप्लाज्म बिटवीन गैमेट्स जो होता है वो प्लाज्मोगैमी होता है. और फ्यूशन ऑफ 2 न्यूक्लियाई ठीक है. Okay. So fusion of two nuclei is known as karyogamy. Meiosis in zygote resulting in haploid spores. Meiosis in zygote resulting in haploid spores. When a fungus reproduces sexually, two haploid hyphae of compatible mating types come together and fuse. जब फंगस सेक्सुअली रिप्रोड्यूस करता है तब दो हैप्लॉइड हाइफी क्या करता है compatible mating types come together or fuse करता है. In some fungi the fusion of two haploid cells immediately results in diploid cells. However, in other fungi the intervening dikaryotic stage occurs. Such condition is called a dikaryon and the phase is called dikaryophase. Dikaryophase of fungus बोला जाता है. Later the parental nuclei and fuse and cell becomes diploid. The fungi form fruiting bodies in which the division occurs, leading to formation of haploid spores. तो कुछ कुछ क्या होता है, इन अदर फंगी इंटरवेनिंग डाइकैरियोटिक स्टेज होता है जिसमें डाइकैरियो लेटर द मेंडन न्यूक्लियर फ्यूज एंड सेल बिकम डिप्लॉयड होता है. The fungi form fruiting bodies in which reproduction occurs, leading to formation of haploid spore. The morphology of mycelium mode of spore formation fruiting bodies form the basis of the division of the kingdom into various classes. ठीक है. चलिए नेक्स्ट फाइकोमाइसिटीज पढ़ेंगे अपन. Members of Phycomycetes are found in aquatic habitats and on decaying wood in moist and damp places or as obligate parasite and plants. The mycelium is aseptate and coinocytic. Asexual reproduction takes place by zoospores or by aplanospores non-motile. These spores are endogenously produced in sporangium. A zygospore is formed by the fusion of two gametes. These gametes are similar in morphology, isogamous or dissimilar, and isogamous or eugamous. Some common examples are Mucor, Rhizopus, Albuco. Members of Phycomycetes are found in aquatic habitats and on decaying wood in moist and damp places. ठीक है, डैम्प प्लेसेस में पाया जाता है. माइसेलियम इज एसेप्टेड होता है और कोइनोसाइटिक होता है. एसेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन टेक्स प्लेस बाय जूस्पोर्स और बाय एप्लोनोस्पोर्स. ठीक है, जूस्पोर्स से होता है. अगर एसेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन अगर जूस्पोर्स होता है तो मोटाइल और एप्लोनोस्पोर्स से होता है तो नॉन मोटाइल. These spores are endogenously produced in sporangium. Endogenously produced होता है. A zygospore is formed by the fusion of two gametes. Fusion of two gametes के बाद ही zygospore बनता है. These gametes are similar in morphology, isogamous or dissimilar, anisogamous. Some common examples are Mucor, Rhizopus, the bread mold, Albugo. ठीक है, Mucor, Rhizopus and the Albugo are the examples. Ascomycetes commonly known as sac fungi. ओके, फिर से एक बार Phycomycetes रिवाइज कर देता हूँ. Members of Phycomycetes are found in aquatic habitats and on decaying wood in moist and damp places or as obligate parasites on plants. The mycelium is aseptate and coinocytic. Sexual reproduction takes place by zoospores or by aphanospores non-motile. These spores are endogenously produced in sporangium. A zygospore is formed by the fusion of two gametes. Zygospore form होता है fusion of two gametes के साथ. These gametes are similar in morphology, isogamous and dissimilar anisogamous. Some common examples are Mucor, Rhizopus, the bread wood and Albugo, the parasitic fungi. ठीक है, याद रहेगा. चलिए अब एस्कोमाइसिटीज commonly known as sac fungi. The ascomycetes are mostly multicellular and penicillium rarely unicellular. Yeast. Okay, they are saprophytic decomposers, parasite or coprophilous growing on dung. Mycelium is branched and septate. पहले का क्या था, mycelium is aseptate and conocytic. इसमें है mycelium is branched and septate. The sexual spores of conidia are produced exogenously on the special mycelium called conidiospores. Conidia on the germination produce mycelium. Sexual spores are called ascospores, which are produced endogenously in a sac-like asci, singular, called ascus. These asci are arranged in different types of fruiting bodies called ascocarps. Some examples are Aspergillus, claviceps, and Neurospora. Neurospora is extensively used in biochemical and genetic work. Many members like morels and truffles are edible and are considered delicacies. So, some examples of ascomycetes are claviceps, Neurospora. Neurospora is used extensively in biochemical and genetic work. Many members like morels and truffles are edible and are considered delicacies. Okay, so 10 minutes का ब्रेक, फिर आते हैं फांगी ख़त्म करके हम लोग उसके बाद वाइरस ख़त्म कर देंगे। 2 घंटे के आसपास हो जाएगा ये चैप्टर। जय let's continue our journey of biological classification and plant kingdom. If possible, I will take today, नहीं तो वो कल होगा. तो अब हम पढ़ेंगे बेसिडोमाइसिटीज. बेसिडोमाइसिटीज क्या है भाई? Commonly known forms of basidomycetes are mushrooms, that is bracket fungi or puffballs. They grow in soil, on logs, on tree stumps, and in living plant bodies as parasite. Example, rusts and smuts. The mycelium is branched and septate. The asexual spores are generally not found, but vegetative reproduction by fragmentation is common. The sex organs are absent, but plasmogamy is brought about by fusion by two vegetative or somatic cells of different strains or genotypes. The resultant structure is dikaryotic, which ultimately gives rise to basidium. The karyogamy and meiosis takes place in the basidium, producing 4 basidiospores. The basidiospores are exogenously produced on the basidium. The basidia are arranged in fruiting bodies called basidiocarp. Some examples are agaricus, ostilago and smut. ठीक है. तो बेसिडोमाइसिटीज क्या होता है? Commonly known forms of basidomycetes are mushroom, bracket fungi or puffballs. They grow in soil, on logs and tree stumps, and in living plant bodies as parasite. Example, rust and smut. The mycelium is branched and septate. The asexual reproduction are generally not found, but vegetative reproduction by fragmentation is common. Sex organs are absent, but plasmogamy is brought about by fusion of two vegetative or somatic cells of different strains or genotypes. The resultant structure is dikaryotic, which ultimately gives rise to basidium. Okay. Now, deuteromycetes, commonly known as imperfect fungi, because only asexual or vegetative phase of this fungi are known. হ্যালো, আমার 130 না 140 রুপিস কবে পাবো?
কেন পাবে?
জানিস না?
না,
নিজে লিখে
জানি।
পাঠিয়েছিস।
130 কেন পাবে?
নিজেই তো লিখে পাঠিয়েছিস।
100 ফর ফটোটা তো মা দিয়ে দিয়েছে, ওটা কেন পাবে? আর দুবার
ও,
only 30
আর 30 রুপিস দিবি না আখের রস খাওয়ানোর?
দিয়ে আর কি
তাহলে 60
60
তো দিবি না?
দেবো।
তো দিয়ে দে না।
দেবো
হ্যাঁ,
নিতে এসো, তাহলে তো।
দিতে আয় তুই। পয়সা কি আমি নিতে যাবো নাকি খালি?
হ্যাঁ,
দিতে আয়।
ঠিক আছে।
ভাল লাগে না, পয়সা
বাই
দেয় না।
বাই।
Commonly known as imperfect fungi because only the asexual or vegetative phase of this fungi are known. When the sexual forms of this fungi were discovered, they were moved into classes they rightly belong to. It is also possible that asexual and vegetative stage have been given one name and the sexual stage another. Later, when the linkages were established, the fungi were correctly identified and moved out of the deuteromycetes. Once perfect sexual stage of member deuteromycetes were discovered and only moved to ascomycetes and basidomycetes or parasites, while a large number of them are decomposers or later help in mineral cycling. Some examples are Alternaria, Coleotrichum, and Trichoderma. Alternaria, Coleotrichum, and Trichoderma. Now it is virus, viroids, and lichens. So once again, मैं आपको पूरा जो फंगी का एग्जाम्पल्स है वो एक बार रिवाइज करा दूंगा ताकि जो भी कर रहे हैं वो हो जाए एक बार में, ठीक है? Members of these phycomycetes are found in aquatic habitats and on decaying wood in moist and damp places or as obligate parasite on plant. The mycelium is accepted and monocytic in nature. Asexual reproduction takes place by zoospores, motile, or actinospores, non-motile. These spores are endogenously produced in sporangium. A zygospore is formed by the fusion of two gametes. These gametes are similar in morphology, isogamous, or dissimilar, anisogamous, or oogamous. Some common examples are mucor, rhizopus, the bread mold mentioned, and albuvo, the parasitic fungi. Common ascomyceti, commonly known as sac fungi, the ascomycetes are mostly multicellular, example penicillium, or rarely unicellular, example yeast. Saccharomyces, they are saprophytic decomposer, parasitic or coprophilous. Mycelium is branched and septate. The asexual conidia produced exogenously on the special mycelium called conidiophores. Conidio on germination produce mycelium. Sexual spores are called ascospores, which are produced endo These asci are arranged in different types of floating bodies called ascospores. Some examples are Aspergillus, claviceps, and Neurospora. Neurospora is extensively used in biochemical and genetic work. Many members like models and truffles are edible and are considered as delicacies. Basidomycetes. Commonly known forms of basidomycetes are mushrooms, bracket fungi, or puffballs. They grow in soil, on logs and tree stumps, and in living plants, bodies, and parasites. Rust and smut. The mycelium is branched and septate. The asexual spores are generally not found, but vegetative reproduction by fragmentation is common. The sex organs are absent, and but plasmogamy is brought about by fusion of two vegetative or somatic cells of different strains or genotypes. The resultant structure is dikaryotic, which ultimately give rise to basidium. Karyogamy and meiosis takes place in the basidium, producing four basidiospores. The basidiospores are exogenously produced on the basidium. The basidia are arranged in fruiting bodies called basidiocarps. Postilago smart Pushchinia. Deuteromycete is commonly known as imperfect fungi because only the asexual or vegetative phases of this fungi are known. When the sexual forms of this fungi were discovered, they were moved into classes they rightly belong to. It is also possible that asexual and vegetative stage have been given one name and the sexual stage another. Later, when the linkages are established, the fungi were correctly identified and moved out of the Deuteromycete. Once perfect sexual stages of members of Deuteromycetes were discovered, they were often moved to Ascomycetes and Basidomycete. The Deuteromycete reproduce only by asexual spores known as conidia. The mycelium is septate and branched. Some members are sabrophytic, alternaria, colotrichum, and trichoderma. Now, last topic: virus, viroids, and lichens. I will complete it within 5 minutes, and that is okay within 10 minutes. Okay. In five kingdom classification of Whitaker, there is no mention of lichens and some acellular organisms like virus, viroids, and prions. These are briefly introduced here. All of us have suffered the ill effects of common cold or flu, known what effects the virus can have on us. If we do not associate it with our condition, virus did not find a place in classification since they are not considered truly living. If we understand living as those organisms that have a cell structure, the virus are non-cellular organisms that are characterized by having an inert crystalline structure outside the living cell. Once they infect a cell, they take over the machinery of the host cell to replicate themselves, killing the host. Would you call living viruses or non-living? The name virus that means venom or poisonous fluid was given by Dmitry Ivanovsky 1892 to recognize certain microbes as casual organisms of the mosaic disease of tobacco. These were found to be smaller than bacteria because they passed through bacteria-proof filters. M.W. Bajernik 1898 demonstrated that extract of the infected plants of tobacco could cause infection in healthy plants and called the fluid as Contagium vivium fluidium. W.M. Stanley showed the viruses could be crystallized, and crystals consist largely of proteins. They are the inert outside their host cell. Viruses are obligate parasite. In the five kingdom classification of Whitaker, there is no mention of lichens and some acellular organisms like viruses, viroids, and prions. These are briefly introduced here. All of us have suffered the ill effects of cold or common cold or flu. Known what effects virus can have on us. If we do not associate it with our condition, viruses did not find a place in classification since they are not considered truly living. If we understand living as those organisms that have a cell structure, the viruses are non-cellular organisms that are characterized by having an inert crystalline structure outside the living cell. Once they infect a cell, they take over the machinery of the host cell to replicate themselves, killing the host. Would you call viruses living or non-living? The virus name virus that means venom or poisonous fluid was given by Dmitry Ivanovsky 1892 to recognize certain microbes as casual organisms of the mosaic disease of tobacco. These are found to be smaller than bacteria because they pass through bacteria-proof filters. M.W. Bajernik demonstrated that extract of infected plants of tobacco would cause infection in healthy plants and called the fluid Contagium vivium fluidium. W. M. Stanley 1935 showed that virus could be crystallized and crystals could consist of largely of proteins. In addition to proteins, virus also contain genetic material that would be either RNA or DNA. No virus contain both RNA and DNA. A virus is a nucleoprotein and the genetic material is infectious. In general, viruses that infect plants have single-stranded RNA and viruses that infect animals have either single or double-stranded RNA or double-stranded DNA. Bacteria, viruses or bacteriophages are usually double-stranded DNA virus. The protein coat called capsid made of small subunits called capsomeres protect the nucleic acid. These capsomeres are arranged in helical or polyhedral shaped geometric forms. The viruses cause diseases like mumps, smallpox, herpes, and influenza. AIDS in humans is also caused by a virus. In plants, the symptom can be mosaic formation, leaf loading and curling, yellowing and vein clearing, dwarfing, and stunted growth. Viroids in 1971, T. Odina discovered a new infectious agent that was smaller than virus and caused potato spindle tuber disease. It was found to be free RNA. It lacked protein code that is found in virus, hence the name viroid. The RNA of the viroid was low molecular weight. Plants in modern medicine, certain infectious neurological diseases were found to be transmitted by an agent consisting of abnormally folded protein. The agent was smaller in size to virus. The agents were called prions. The most notable disease called VAC, commonly called mad cow disease in cattle, and its analogous variant C. Jacob disease in humans. Lichens are symbiotic associations mutually useful in association between algae and fungi. The algal component is known as phycobiont and the fungal component mycobiont, which are autotrophic and heterotrophic respectively. Algae prepare food for fungi and fungi provide shelter and absorb mineral nutrients and water for its partner. So close of the association that is one saw lichen in nature, one would never imagine that there are two different organisms within them. Lichens are very good pollution indicators. They do not grow in polluted areas. So this was the virus and this was the whole biological classification chapter, which is completed within 2 hours. If you like this video, then please subscribe this channel and give a like, and I will do another session of live session tomorrow. Today we will do a live study session. Okay, thank you, for have a nice day.